I think, first of all, markets got spooked by OPEC's plan to return supply to the market after this most recent meeting on Sunday. Is that what drove oil prices lower? Do the sellers have it right?
I think that the sellers have it wrong. I think from this perspective, OPEC has been very clear. The first point is that the broader curbs are extended into further into next year. I think that's a very important point. Obviously, these voluntary cuts and the comments that they could start to deliver more oil back into the market by the time we get into the fourth quarter of this year is what initially has sparked the drawdown in prices over the last few days. But again, OPEC was very clear that any increase in oil output to the market from these voluntary cuts would only come if demand accommodates. And we expect that demand will continue to pick up into the summertime now. Obviously, seasonal demand begins to really pick up pace over the next couple of months. That's going to tighten the oil market up. We are going to see inventories coming down. I guess that the pop in inventories of late has also been another element that the bears have grabbed onto. But we do expect that inventories will come down and then oil prices will start to gravitate back towards the mid-80s by the time we get into the third quarter.
Okay, so what does your year-end target look like for oil? Because a lot of things have to go right for you to get there. We need to see inventory draws, as you say, but also demand holding up. And right now, there are some in the market who say the OPEC numbers just don't add up.
Look, I can understand that as you see data begin to weaken in the US, we saw a fairly weak partial for the labour market last night in the JOLTS data. Clearly, some other indicators in the US have been a bit weaker than expected. ISM is another great example. But clearly, yes, the US is slowing. But overall, the consumer in the US remains very healthy. The labour market remains very tight. And travel demand, for example, continues to increase. So therefore, we think that inventories will come down on the back of what is going to be very robust demand and very little additions to oil production. This is both a supply and demand situation. Very little additions to oil production, not just from OPEC, but also ex-OPEC over the next 6 months. That will see the market tighten up as we go into the end of the year. That is what our estimates of around the mid-80s are based on.